Unlike last week, DC's coming in a little light, but we've got heavy hitters from Image and Marvel coming to you this Wednesday. What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is Preview Picks, where I give you an idea of what's coming out this week, so that way you can know whether you want to pick it up or not. So, to start off with, we're going to go with DC, which doesn't have any Rebirth titles or any other titles coming out that are really that important. A lot of anthologies, a lot of trade paperbacks, but the big one that's coming out is Suicide Squad War Crimes, which is a one-shot. Looks like we've got some Harley Quinn, some Deadshot, and Amanda Waller pretty heavy in this one, a little bit of Captain Boomerang, so that's what you can really expect to see from DC. However, we do have a couple big hitters from Image coming out as well. East of West, written by Jonathan Hickman, is dropping issue 29, and overall that's a great book that really I'm going to have to pick up on trade because I wasn't really aware of it until recently. The other really big book from Image is Saga, which is dropping issue 37. So there have been some delays in this book every once in a while, but ultimately it is continuing to be one of the most popular independent titles that currently hits the market. And then what we also see is Rick Remender's Tokyo Ghost dropping issue 10, and from what it looks like, it's going to be the last book that he's really putting out in this series for the time being, possibly even the finale, but that's because he's got his new project, Seven to Eternity, that we've got to look forward to, and that's just right around the corner. Then we have IDW, which is putting out TMNT Universe #1, so that is the first issue of that particular series, and that's going to be a great jumping on point considering that the ongoing is at like issue 60, so you've got to go back into the legacy to really find out where that TMNT series is going. So this should be a great entry-level point for people that want to get back into TMNT comics. Now that we're done with DC and Independence, we can jump straight into Marvel. So, Amazing Spider-Man issue 17 is going to come out, and that looks like we're going to see an introduction of a brand new female Electro, so that could be very interesting. Also, we've got Carnage issue 11, which is going to continue on the story of the anti-Carnage team, the Death Hold, or Dark Hold that's what it is, the Dark Hold, and ultimately Jerry Conway is writing a good horror book. It's got its moments where it's a little bit slow and a little bit dry, but I'm really glad to see this, story continuing. And who doesn't like more Man-Wolf? You need to have, some J. Jonah Jameson III in there, and I really like to see him showcased in this book. Then, on a sad note, we have the last issue of Hyperion #6. So it's a book with a character that has a lot of potential, but ultimately, the first part of the story arc did kind of a disservice to the character, at least from my interpretations. It lost me so early on that I really couldn't see myself picking it back up, and I feel like that's the way a lot of people felt because the the July numbers had that book selling a few less than 10,000 copies, which is probably the reason that she's on the outs. But this is your last opportunity to come out and pick up Hyperion if you want to give it a shot. Next, we have some pretty standard books. We've got Spider-Gwen issue 11. This is going to continue on with her Lost Powers kind of series. If you're not reading it, I don't want to spoil too much, but ultimately we've got kind of a life meter going on. She's got so many Super Marios that she can go through before she kind of loses track of where she's going as a person. And then in Spider-Man, we also see him kind of dealing with more of the Civil War II scenario. So it's definitely a tie-in heavy book, and it's about the moral dilemma of Miles Morales. And it's very obvious that it's going to tie in. It's going to tie in heavily simply because Brian Michael Bendis he's writing both the main event, Civil War II, and this tie-in book. So it's going to happen whether we want it to or not. Then lastly, we have Wolverine Annual #1, and this is going to get some guest appearances. So the collection of annuals is 5 or 6 short stories that are really kind of tied into the Wolverine universe, and it looks like Spider-Gwen's going to make a guest appearance. And the main reason that I'm going to pick this up is because I like Laura Kinney, I like her character, and this is a Reservoir Dogs cover, and that's just a standard cover, so I'm totally in. Anytime that you put the Reservoir Dogs cover on it, yeah, you got me. I'm just a big Tarantino fan, so that's nice. So those are the books that you want to be on the lookout for this week, but you never know what else is going to pop up, so always keep your eye on the local shelf. If you like what you see, hit the like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you want more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.